Somebody posted a video of a cop planting drugs in a guy's car, but it turned out to be fake. So I figured that I'm going to give you guys a real video of cops actually planting evidence in a car. But it's not going to be so simple in real life as it was in the fake video. This is not going to be a 15-second TikTok video. You know, a while back, a cop did plant a bag of weed on my friend, but we're not talking about something simple like that, and this is not going to be like a TV show. This is evidence from a real faked murder case. It involved hundreds of pieces of evidence at different locations. There was a fake bullet hole that made fake video. They planted fake bloody gloves, and all that is going to take several videos. So today I'm just going to cover some evidence planted in a car and at that same scene or staged. If you want to follow along with the actual crime scene photos from this murder case while you watch the video, you can find them at seminolescam.com/staged. A guy died named James Mulrenan. Someone used the dead guy's credit cards. They saw some people on video near his apartment, including my friend on video near his apartment. And there was another guy on the video wearing a "Don't Tread on Me" cotton t-shirt, like, you know, one of the ones with the snake, the Gadsden flag. So they wrote an arrest affidavit for my friend and her boyfriend for murder. It's a big jump from credit card fraud to murder, but that's what cops do, and how cops lie is another video. And so then they went to my friend's house to arrest her and her boyfriend, and they also hope to find the credit cards and the "Don't Tread on Me" cotton shirt that the guy was wearing in the video. The official record in this case, you know, the police documents and the reports, it was all fake anywhere you start. But we're going to start today with the documents from when they got arrested. The final police report says that they were arrested, my friend and her boyfriend, sitting in her car in front of the house where they rented a room on Arbor Ridge Trail. In a deposition, Lieutenant Murphy said they were not in the car when they were arrested. They were walking out of the house when police arrested them. Another police report said my friend was actually arrested 5 miles away and an hour later on Lake Underhill Road. Another police report says that her boyfriend was arrested, but without saying where or when. This is actually very common. Police who aren't familiar with a case are going to try to not say anything at all because they don't want to accidentally say something that conflicts with the other police narrative. In my town, the city cops used to have body cameras, but they got rid of them because the sheriff didn't like the city cops having body cameras, and the sheriff didn't have body cameras. Because when the city cops and the sheriff both responded to one incident, the body cam footage would then go back to the city police department. And then when the sheriffs wrote their own report in another building across town, the sheriff's version of what happened would not match what was in the city cop's body cam on the other side of town. So different police or police from different departments are just going to keep their mouths shut and let just one guy get the story straight. And that's why when my friend's boyfriend was arrested, the arresting officer didn't put anything in his narrative. He just says, "I came in contact with him." You know, did he call him on the phone? Did he run into him on the subway? You know, he just says, "I came in contact." He doesn't say anything. because he knows that the lead investigator is going to lie. So it's basically omerta among government employees. You can already see that this is not quite as geeky as the CSI show on TV. Okay, so they arrest my friend and her boyfriend, and then what do next? They photographed some credit cards with the dead guy's name on them, visible in plain sight through the window of my friend's car. So they get a search warrant and put my friend's car in a flatbed truck and take it to the pound. Then they open the car up and they take some pictures of what's inside. And what you're going to see is police planted those credit cards of a dead guy in plain sight in my friend's car. The car has been ransacked by the time police get their search warrant. And every incriminating item in the car has been staged into plain sight. There's a bag of weed wide open on the driver's seat. If my friend was really sitting in the driver's seat when police walked up and, knocked on the window or whatever, or flashed their lights, or ran up with guns pointed, any way you cut it, she's going to stash that bag of weed. She's going to stuff it beside the seat. She's going to stick it in her pocket. She's going to push it down. And if she's not even in the car, she's definitely not going to leave her weed out in the car wide open sitting on the driver's seat. She's definitely not going to leave a bag of open weed sitting in plain sight and then go in the car or go in the house and leave her car parked like that. I mean, have you ever seen anybody who uses weed, like we went out to there, oh, yeah, there's just a bag of weed. Maybe today when weed is legal, but this happened in 2016. Weed was not legal in Florida. Weed was not legal in a lot of places in 2016. Druggy people did not just leave open bags of weed sitting on the driver's seat and go into the house without their weed. The passenger seat is covered with everything. There's nitrous drug paraphernalia placed in plain sight. Her boyfriend was not sitting there with all that stuff on the seat. But remember, the final police report said that they were sitting in the car when police came up and arrested them. But even if they were not in the car, they would not leave all that stuff in plain sight when they got out. So how did all that incriminating stuff in plain sight get there? There were two cards staged under the stick shift accordion with the dead guy's name in plain sight. You can't drive with those cards there on the stick shift accordion. And after the car was moved from being towed, those cards slid onto the floor. So those cards are not even going to stay on the stick shift accordion, just being towed on a flatbed. Those credit cards were staged in plain sight on the stick shift accordion after the car was parked, but before it was towed. And they're even fanned out to be visible like a blackjack casino advertisement. I tried placing cards fanned out like that so that you can see the card underneath instead of just stacked. It takes two hands to place cards fanned out like that so that they're visible. Try it yourself. In the middle of the passenger seat is a wallet. That wallet is not her boyfriend's normal wallet, which they actually found in the glove box. That's a burner wallet. The last place that credit card was seen that was staged on the stick shift was going into that wallet on video at Walmart. So after my friend and her boyfriend parked their car and got out and left it, somebody leaned into the car from the outside, ransacked it, and placed all those incriminating items in plain sight on the seats. You have to be outside the car to place that stuff on the passenger seat. You can't do that when you're sitting in the passenger seat. So somebody took those cards out of that wallet that's lying on the seat and leaned into the car and staged those credit cards fanned out like a blackjack hand on the stick shift accordion, and then just dropped the wallet right in the middle of the passenger seat in plain sight. That somebody was a cop named Detective Ben Sprague, and he was State Attorney Phil Archer's LEO of the Year for doing it. Police also went into the house, but before going into my friend's rented room, in other words, before going into the only part of the house that actually belonged to my friend, the CSI Allison Smolerick spent a few minutes taking photographs of other parts of the house. Like before going into the suspect's room, the room of the murder suspect, she took a photograph of the landlord's bathroom. This is the bathroom of the people who aren't involved and that she, supposedly rents this room from. She's got her own bathroom in her rented room. But instead of going straight to the suspect's room, they go to the other parts of the house first and, photograph the landlord's bathroom. Maybe there's some evidence of murder in her landlord's bathroom. Maybe her landlord did the murder. By the time the CSI got to my friend's rented room, it was ransacked and everything was on the floor, except right in the middle of the bed. The first thing visible, right in the middle, in plain sight through the door, in the very first photograph, is the "Don't Tread on Me" cotton t-shirt or sweatshirt. This is such astonishing good fortune for police. All the landlord would then have to do is just let them look through the door of the rented room, and police would have everything they needed in plain sight to get a warrant to search the rented room. This is how you become LEO of the Year. It's not like TV. In the first photograph of the rented room taken, right coming through the door, the drawers on the dresser were closed. But now the CSI is going to take a series of photographs that make it look like she approached an open drawer and found a gun in it. Like she just looked, there's an open drawer, I'm coming up. What's this? Oh, look, I feel a little bit of a gun. That's a gun in there. I just walked up and this drawer's open and look, there's a gun in it. The problem is that drawer was closed when the CSI first approached it. So by the time the CSI starts creating this storyboard of photographs, she already has the gun, and she already knows the story she's trying to tell. She didn't document evidence how she found it when she found it. She stepped back and she tried to create a staged and acted story of walking up to a drawer and finding a gun in it, hidden under an item of clothing that could only belong to a girl. If you don't think the CSI is really trying that hard to manufacture a story, look closely at the third photograph. The gun is more concealed by a girl's clothing item than in the second photograph. The CSI staged that item of clothing over the gun in the third photo to tell the story she wanted it to tell of a gun being found in a drawer of clothing that could only belong to a girl. The CSI adjusted the evidence to support a specific narrative that she wanted to tell. Is it that hard to imagine? Maybe the gun wasn't even in a drawer of girls' clothing when the police first went into the room? Just like the credit cards were not actually on the stick shift when they first went into the car. CSI TV shows are aimed at people like you and me, kind of geeks. But police are criminals who just want convictions. And so we're the ones actually uncovering the truth, and kind of like the TV shows that we watch. My friend whose drawer that gun was photographed in bought used clothes from another girl the night James Mulrennan died. So that CSI could have contaminated that gun with DNA from another person when she staged the bra over the gun. But the CSI doesn't care, because they also have total control over the DNA evidence, and they can fix it later to make it tell any story they want. And in fact, they just make it tell the story they want. They don't even need to collect it off the gun when they say they do. So it doesn't really matter what's actually on the gun. It matters what they said was on the gun. But that's all for another video. So let's look at this old gun that she found in the drawer. Look how it's polished so clean like a mirror and reflects everything around it perfectly. The police will later claim that gun was held for 79 minutes during a tense, bloody struggle during which the person holding the gun for 79 minutes and struggling got blood all over his hands. But they claim that gun has no fingerprints or DNA on it. Not even like partials, not even, just useless fragments, like a little tiny shred of like a corner of a fingerprint, just one line. Or like a little bit of like DNA that you can't resolve. Nothing. And not even on the shells in the cylinder. How are you going to put a brass bullet in the cylinder of a revolver and not leave some partial fingerprint on that? But that gun was polished like a mirror. So it wasn't just, I'm just going to come home, I'm a sloppy criminal, did this murder, throw the gun in the drawer and police find it there. That's not what happened. The one missing bullet in the revolver cylinder, there's one bullet gone. That tells a clear and neat story of one shot being fired. That's the exact story police wanted to tell. But the brass cartridge is also missing. It's not like you just shot it and left an empty brass cartridge. So that brass cartridge will never be found, despite police looking through a room full of garbage where obviously nothing was ever thrown away for weeks. The car still got, trash from weeks ago in it, old receipts, the house, What they're saying is that nobody threw away anything. This was sloppy criminals. But the gun, which supposedly, look, one bullet's missing. You know what? The brass cartridge would be there in the story they're trying to tell. So not quite as neat a story as it appears at first. So police went out to my friend's house and they had astonishingly good luck. Every item they came looking for was visible in plain sight without needing a search warrant. The credit cards were on the stick shift accordion, visible in plain sight through the car window. The "Don't Tread on Me" cotton shirt was visible through the door of their rented room without even having to enter. They walk up to this open drawer and look, there's a gun in it. So it's like, how does all this stuff? It's like if you were, the criminals don't put everything in plain sight. Police put everything in plain sight. It's a pretty simple explanation. So they went out to my friend's house looking for specific things, and they found them in plain sight. They found what the cop in that movie Minority Report called an orgy of evidence. And it was all staged and placed to tell the story they wanted to tell. But this was not some rogue cop. This was the Hugh Thomas LEO of the year. And he faked evidence all through this case, which I'm going to get to in some more videos. And they know he faked it, and he was never disciplined for faking evidence in this case, and he never will be, because voters hate the Constitution. Everybody in every country in history has not really wanted a Bill of Rights for the people they don't like. People do not want the Bill of Rights. They want to, attack their neighbors and lock up the people they don't like, and they don't want anything standing in their way. In the next video, I'm going to show you how police faked some bloody gloves in this case. If any of what I'm telling you was not true, it would be libel. This would be tampering. What I'm doing would be illegal felony witness intimidation. I would have cops and lawyers all over me if it wasn't true. Allison Smolarek, CSI, staged evidence, put it up on the web, write about it, say it over and over. I would have lawyers all over me, if there was any way to dispute what I'm saying, and there's not. Every word of what I've told you and what I'm going to tell you is real. And my friend is serving life without parole from age 21 for a crime that didn't happen. And it's not because the voters don't know about it. It's because the voters do know about it, and they like it.